Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dual Senses, a PlayStation podcast where we give our 2 cents on everything PlayStation. I'm Stephen Morrow, and I'm joined by
The Alex Wolf. What's up, yo?
the Alex Wolf. If you're tuning in live, welcome. And if you're listening post-recording, then be sure to rate, review, and follow us wherever you're listening. You can find the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. And if you're a fan of the show, please consider helping to support us by heading on over to www.mtfproductions.com/donate, where you can send as little as $1, and you can put that towards giving, and we can put that towards giving you guys the best show that we can deliver. Hello, Alex.
I'm out of alcohol, Steven.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I drank the last of my bourbon last week. Not on the show. I had some more after that, but like middle of the week, and I have not gone to buy more. And I'm sad, but that's okay, because I guess I probably needed a break. So now I have coffee and a Sprite.
It's not the same.
Fuck no, it's not, Steven. It's not. None of this is alcoholic.
You're significantly deflated because of this.
Very real. I'm less animated. I am less motivated. I am less inebriated. It's all bad.
Oh, wait, is this a green screen cup?
No. Oh, hold on. Wait. We got a Sprite can. Bitch. That's right. Join the fabled fucking brick Sprite can.
Why does that even happen?
Motherfuckers. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But I'm
so
here
random.
for it. I wanted the green mug for the coffee, but it was in the sink dirty, so I was like, I'm not gonna do all that. But then the Sprite can, though, the Sprite can is here to stay.
It just baffles me. I literally went into the settings, deactivated green screen, but the Sprite can looks actually pretty dope.
I don't know. I wonder if I did it. Huh. Oh, yeah, look at that. I went to virtual background in the settings, and sure enough, the default is like the brick wall. Like, I've never actually messed with this. I'm like, I wonder if this is something like I played around with, but I don't remember actually touching this. So if I hit none, is it gone?
Yeah, it's like magic. It's actually kind of cool.
But now check out my living room space, Steven. Look how cool my condo looks in the Hilton.
Oh, wow.
I know. That's fucking fancy. We're going to keep the brick wall,
your
though.
can.
We're going to go brick wall, though, because now it's a thing. Has to be. How you be?
So,
where'd it go?
I'm doing all right. Right before recording, I went to a like light festival, like a Christmas light thing. Why are you making that face?
I saw a figure, Steven, right behind you. It just ran past your fucking head.
It must have been a demon.
Probably.
I think it was Andreas. I think he's going to bed.
Blink twice if you're safe.
Oh, wait, no, he's there.
Well, that doesn't make any fucking sense, because I saw someone run in the kitchen. What kind of fucking witchcraft do you have happening in that apartment?
You saw someone go in the kitchen when Andreas was not in the kitchen?
Correct. That's what I thought I saw. I did.
It might have actually been a demon
at someone else's houses before I came to do this. So you should assume I'm drinking before the show every week. Like, you should. If I am not doing that, you should be worried.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but you're gonna your next alcohol purchase is gonna have to be to me.
I mean, expound.
Because I won our bet for the most predictions for the Game Awards.
If you think that I'm going to go buy you alcohol and still not buy myself some, sir, you are sorely fucking mistaken,
even when I bought you alcohol last time, we shared.
Goddamn right. Or I was by myself.
But this was an interesting one because...
yeah, it was.
We were a lot closer points-wise than we were last time. And a lot of the winners were surprising, which people can go back and listen to our previous episode when we talk about the post-game awards post-show. But yeah, 16 predictions correct.
Yeah, I think I had 11?
Yep, you had 11.
Yep.
So it wasn't as much of an ass kicking as last year when you just obliterated all of my predictions. I think I
That's what
had
I'm here
like
to do.
3.
If I win, Steven, I play to win. Like someone is bleeding after this is all said and done, okay?
Well, I was bleeding.
Murder.
I was dead. I was a dead man.
You ever like, I do this thing where I focus on the camera, and I'm trying to be center.
Yeah.
And, like I'm trying to make sure the mic's center, and I'm trying to make sure I'm center so it looks good, good presentation. But I always do like the slightest movement somehow, some way to where I'm not centered. It always bugs the fuck out of me. And I end up focusing on it the whole goddamn show. And I'm just like,
I'm always lopsided. My head's cut off, or like I'm leaning. I just
I'm
get
always
comfy.
lopsided. I'm just a crooked fucking individual.
I'm just a crooked man.
I live life in italics.
God. So what games have you been playing lately? I'm curious.
I've been dabbling. So I've made a goal for myself. I want to get a gaming PC.
Yeah.
By the end of 2022.
You're a traitor.
Yeah, it's fine. So here's my thing though, Steven. I have taken our approach to when it comes to things that are free. If it's free and it's on a legit thing, claim it. Like, why wouldn't you? And you just have it in your backlog. I have routinely for the past year or so gone in the Epic Game Store and claimed their daily free games or weekly free games, or whatever the fuck they do. So I have created this backlog of PC games on a platform I don't own, just by claiming free shit. And now that I have an Xbox Series S and I use it solely for Game Pass to play exclusives most of the time, but then any third-party games that come out on it, so I don't have to spend $60 on it to play it on the PlayStation. I'm like building again this log. I'm like, at this point, like I'd probably save a ton of money just playing games on PC, because like the games I don't buy games at launch. I haven't done that in forever, and 9 times out of 10 they're on sale almost a week out of the gate on PC. I'm like, if I wanted to, I'd probably save more money doing this. Like, I follow Cheap Ass Gamer on Twitter, and half the deals are for games I want to play, but they're on PC and they're like half off.
You've got those Humble Bundles too.
Yeah, all that stuff. And I'm like, I'd play those games, but that's not available to me on my console, which is the only reason I don't play them. It's usually because it's an expense I cannot afford. But now, if I had a PC, sure, like that upfront cost of the PC itself is pretty pricey, but like in the long run, that shit would last me years, and I could play whatever the fuck I wanted without having to worry about hassle, unless I want to buy an exclusive, So I have made it a goal of mine to not buy any new games going into 2022. Because I have too much. I've got games out the ass I can play.
Oh, you mean just for through the end of 2021?
No, I mean like all this year, like all this, like 2022. I'm not buying a brand new game unless it is a gift, like with whether it's store credit I have because I sold something, or it's a gift card I get specifically to a retailer or anything like that. I have too many other games I can play right now, and I don't play that many games as is just at a time. So I'm like, I don't need to go shell out $60 of my own money to play a video game, where if I want to play a game that bad, I could probably just look in my library on my PlayStation 5 or go on Game Pass and see what's there and play it that way. I don't need to do it. And that money
that was most of my 2021. So 2022, I'm ready.
And so that will lead to me saving towards the PC and getting that all taken care of and going from there. But also at the same time, like just saving money in general, so I'm not buying a bunch of shit that I'm not going to play for months at hand. In that essence, though, what I'm playing now, which would last me probably in the first month or two of 2022, I recently started Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart on the PS5.
Okay.
So I dabble in that, like usually at late at night, where I have like the house to myself and it's quiet. But throughout the day, I've been playing that there Pokemon's Brilliant Diamond on the Nintendo Switch fairly frequently. I've been jonesing for some old school Pokemon, and this remake is very much just that. It is a remake or a remaster through and through, not a whole bunch of new stuff. Very much the same game with some fresh and some quality of life changes. That's all I needed. So, what about you? What you playing? What you playing?
So I recently jumped back into Nier Replicant, mostly because the Game Awards reminded me that I really love that game. Oh, there's that brick can. Brick flavored Sprite.
Concrete.
Yum, yum, yum.
Sediment. I can taste the green.
Your face froze on my end for like a split second when
No, I held it.
Oh, okay. That
I
was
got
that was a very good hold.
I've been really
Wow.
getting I don't know why all of a sudden I'm really good at that, but that's a thing I've been doing.
Do you think you're like part machine?
I mean, at this point, yeah.
Wow.
Just put myself into a wall.
Robot
Charge my batteries.
revolution is real.
I can't function unless there's Wi-Fi. I'm always attached to a screen. I am already a PC. I am a personal, emphasis on the person, computer.
Oh, okay. But anyways, yeah, I jumped back into Near Replicant. I've mostly just been like farming for items because I want to upgrade all my weapons, and it is a slog. It is hours and hours and hours of farming for like one fucking item. But the music is nice. So there's that.
Fair.
But then I'm excited for when I finally upgrade all the weapons, because then I can just play the game, because I still have like I think 4 different endings. So I can go back to just enjoying the story. I just want to get all of that out of the way so I can just play it and enjoy it. Because it's like, without spoiling anything, it is one of those things where there is a point of no return, and if I hit it, that means I'm restarting literally everything from square one. So like I just want to get all the trophies I can before I hit that point. But other than Near Replicant, I've still been playing Death Stranding a little bit, but it's been a minute since I've streamed it. But I've been a little bit addicted to a game that I didn't think I would be addicted to, and that's Wreckfest. I've been playing Wreckfest on PS5.
Wreckfest.
It's a fun little game.
Yeah, what do you like about it? What's got your goat?
I mean, sometimes I just like sometimes I just like a simple racing game, and there's no like weird special mechanics in this game. You just drive and run into things. And literally the first event in the entire game's campaign, you're just riding on these lawnmowers in a field, and the goal is to just destroy everyone. So you just run into them, and then bodies are flying everywhere. It's great. I love it.
feel like that sounds like farming simulator if it was done right. I could appreciate that.
Honestly, yeah. Yeah. And then before you know it, you're racing couches on some speedway. More bodies flying everywhere.
My God.
There's a lot of, I mean, obviously there's cars and stuff too.
Nah, no cars, just couches.
But it's kind of fun. And like I played it
UK
online.
Football game, that shit's on fire.
I played Wreckfest online, and I actually felt like I had a fighting chance. It's like the first time I played any kind of racing anything online and not been a disaster.
Now, do you think that is because you are sincerely good at the game?
No.
Or because there's very little people actually playing Wreckfest online the hours you are playing the game, if not majority of the hours that game is going?
Well, I mean, when I happened to play it, I was off work. I was playing it during like a normal time on a weekend. So like I feel like it was a normal time to be playing. I think it's just because there's a lot of destruction and people run into each other from all different angles. I think it's hard to be entirely skill based. It's just almost always a clusterfuck, but in a good way. I guess it is kind of my natural habitat.
Stephen Morrow.
Cluster of fuck.
No, not cluster of fuck. That would make you that sells the cluster. You a cluster fucker.
Oh, I fuck the clusters?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cluster. I hardly knew her.
That
I don't like,
sounds...
Yeah, I don't like cluster.
That one was gross.
That
was downright offensive.
I'm just going to throw that one away. All right.
Did you just rip a blank piece of paper just for effect and throw it behind you?
No, it had the tallies for the Game Awards.
Oh, okay. It's like, did you just whip that out because you wanted to look like we had something prepared? Let's not lie to the people, Stephen. There is nothing prepared about this show.
It is not a lie. It is just a mere fabrication,
Jesus
I
Christ.
guess.
So, Stephen, before we get into the news, you've got a bit of news on the DualSense's front.
I do. Oh, I do. Yeah,
you do.
Actually,
God damn it, boy.
Listen, I'm inept. Yeah, we have Twitter again for More Than Friends, which is nice. So our Twitter handle, is that what it's called? A Twitter handle? Okay. See, I'm so new to this, but it's just tweet MTF. Nice and simple, nice and easy. So if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can get notified whenever we go live, whenever there's new content. Sometimes we'll put random things on there. But yeah. Tweet
Good things.
MTF.
Like, follow, share with your friends. People you not friends, but you think like video games. Or just two bumbling idiots on the internet at 10 p.m. on a Friday night. Or no, what is today? Saturday. No, today's Friday, right? It's Friday. We do it on Fridays. We do it on Fridays. It's Friday.
Yeah, we do. We do. Okay. Yeah, it's Friday.
See, it's great. Quality. Son of a bitch.
We've got everything together.
Planned.
Everything fall apart.
Everything is under control. God damn, look at that. Look at that fucking bun in the background. Jesus Christ.
What? Are you still watching Andreas?
I saw him. It's
a nice bun. I like his bun.
I saw that son of a bitch.
It's a good
lurking
bun.
In the shadows, Steven. Lurking.
Alex can see your bun every now and then. It's a nice bun, though. I like it. He's preparing these meals. He started doing
meal prepping
prep for people based on their dietary goals. Yeah.
What people? Like
you pay him money and then he'll cook you meals, like as a plan.
That's not a bad gig.
Yeah,
like people
like pretty cool.
Yeah, a lot of people want to meal prep, but they don't like actually doing it. So it's good. You know, it's a good thing. People will pay for that shit.
Yeah, actually, I did hear that. So he just started. He had a client, and she just started on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
On Monday. Well, she said Monday didn't count because she ate a bunch of junk food. Anyways, she started on Tuesday, and today's Friday, and she already lost more than 2 pounds.
No, good for her. That's awesome. Kudos.
So it's working, and she says the food is delicious. So yeah, if anyone wants to do some like dietary goals, right now it has to be local because we can't ship food right now, but we can deliver. So, anyways,
anywho's, follow tweet MTF on Twitter to get along. Steven, we got some hefty pieces of news. Do you want to go with the PlayStation centric things, or do you want to just go down the line of what we got taken down, young man?
Let's just go down the line, and then most of these we won't spend too long on. It's just there's a couple biggins, but
some biggins, some big boys.
But we'll just feel it out. Go down the line. Do you want to alternate?
Big old child.
Is that what you want to do? You want to alternate?
I don't give a shit. Let's just make a roll, bro.
I want to do the first one. Let's do the first one.
All right, shit. Do the first one.
All right, I'm excited about this. So the game Spiritfarer has passed 1 million copies sold, and this is exciting because if I remember correctly, it was nominated last year for Games for Impact. Is that right, or did it win?
Dude, I don't remember what I did 48 hours ago. Actually, trying to remember December of 2020 2020 and 2021 blur. Well, I'll Google it. Hold on.
While you're Googling, so Spiritfarer is a game where it's adorable and you help adorable animals pass on to the afterlife, but it's nice. But anyways, so to celebrate 100 copies sold, they're releasing a new free update that includes new characters, new story stuff, and they're changing the name of the game to the Farewell Edition, which I think is very nice because it is the final update for the game. And I still want to play that game. I finally own it. But after hearing that this update was coming out, I wanted to wait until the update was available. But now it's available. But yeah, so congratulations to everyone who worked on Spiritfarer, because that game is beautiful and wonderful, and now there's more content. It's wins all around.
There we go. All right, hold on.
You got it?
So I thought I did, but I'm going to try this. Game Awards 2020. Just go about it this way. Game Awards 2020 on the old Wikipedias. Awards. Games for Impact. Games for Impact. Games for Impact last year was Tell Me Why. Spiritfarer was a nominee.
There we go. So it was nominated for Games for Impact, but it's an amazing game. Sold 1 million copies. New free update, new characters. That's always cool.
What's up, Iraqi Horror? I enjoy. Is that a penguin or a snowman or both?
I think it's a man with a mask. Hold on, let's. I can't tell.
Oh, it's a snowman with the. It's like a face mask, like
a
medical
snowman
mask.
with a face mask.
Yeah, all right, I can appreciate that. It's in the holiday spirit, but it's also responsible. Any hooser. Next up, we've got. That was not the first one, Steven.
Yeah, it was.
Was it? Hold on. Okay, hold on. My page jumped all over the place. You cover this next one too, because I don't know what the fuck.
All right, so Kingdoms of Amalur came out like 10 years ago. Promised expansion back when it came out on 360 and PS3. Expansion never happened. Studio went under. Kingdoms of Amalur gets re-released as Re-Reckoning, and now finally, after 10 fucking years, it is a terrible name. Great game, terrible name. But anyways, so the expansion is finally out for the re-release, and this expansion is interesting. It might be a little too late for anyone to really care, but
especially when the
it's literally 10 years after the game release.
and considering like how well that game just like not how well, but like how that game released as a re-release, it was just like no one cares anymore.
Yeah.
So like the people that would buy this DLC, even if it's a minimal amount.
Well, the game was released as a PlayStation Plus game. So
true.
There's more people playing it, maybe. But
hopefully.
Anyway, so the new expansion is set in a completely new environment that has like mountains and a more snowy landscape. A more than 6 hour long main quest, a bunch of new characters. The level cap was raised. There's a bunch of new armor sets, tons of new side quests, new villages, cities. You can buy new houses, new interiors for your houses. There's a shit ton of content. It's like an expansion to an MMO style thing. So that's pretty cool. My favorite new feature is there's new music from the composer, Grant Kirkhope, who is also the composer for Banjo-Kazooie. So anytime there's more music from him, that's great.
All this stuff, all this content, 6 hours plus of main quest content here. You get a house, you can build it, and your biggest takeaway is the music.
Yeah, yes, it is. I have no shame.
I know you don't.
He's a great composer.
I ain't nothing against the guy, but there's a whole lot of content there, like that you will actually interact with, and you're just like, give me that. You could just listen to. I'm pretty sure that's gonna be on Spotify at some point.
Yeah,
and you could just do it that way.
Yeah, but I mean, how many other people are talking about the soundtrack for Kingdoms of Amalur? Nobody. This is a DualSenses exclusive.
I don't know. I mean, clearly not, because we sourced that from what, PlayStationTrophies.org, and they probably sourced it from someone else.
Yeah, but that was just a bullet point on a list. But this is a main feature. This is a selling point for me.
Moving right along. We've got a System Shock remake coming next year. Originally started as a Kickstarter all the way back in 2016. Was slated to release in 2020, but
life, universe, everything.
This has been long in the running, and System Shock is one of those, I don't want to say cult favorites. I guess I can call it a cult favorite, where it's a franchise that fans just won't let die, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's much beloved. The games were good, from what I understand. I've never played or even let alone seen a System Shock game, except for the sequel that came out, or did it ever come out? System Shock, was it
I
2
thought
or
it did.
3?
I think
I
it
think
did.
I think it just kind of came out and it was I feel like it's one of those franchises where it's very much talked about when it's happening because it's such a long running I say long running, but it's been around for forever, but they have very few installments.
Well, it's the precursor though to BioShock.
The BioShock, yes.
So
But I feel like the BioShock games get more hype and have done critically better and as well as commercially. But every time you talk about System Shock, it's always like, oh shit, System Shock's still around. And then that's it.
System Shock.
Yeah, System Shock. But then after that, that's all you hear. Right? That's it. It's always talked about the upcoming release, and then it comes out, and it's like, good job, guys. Nothing against them. I just feel like the community that desires this game to be out is, I feel like there's a lot more talk than there is actual, like, you know.
Well, I mean, this started as a Kickstarter in 2016, but it's nice to know that finally they have a date, or not a year. They have a year that they're planning to release. So 2022, you can expect to see the System Shock remake. They released 2 gameplay trailers, so if anyone's interested in checking that out, I'm sure it's on the YouTubes and the what have yous.
Tubes. And the what have yous. Can't forget about those. Yeah,
but
so good stuff.
Speaking of remakes of classic games that people have been clamoring for, finally, it took them freaking long enough. Ubisoft has officially announced and confirmed a Splinter Cell remake is in the works. So it's still very, very, very early in development. But we know that it's going to be using the Snowdrop engine. That's the same engine as The Division, and it's the same engine that's going to be used in the recently announced Avatar game that Ubisoft is working on. It's touting next generation visuals and gameplay, which every remake does that, so that's not too exciting. But this is where it gets exciting. Ubisoft has stated that they plan to continue the franchise further, with the remake basically acting as a base or a foundation for future iterations. So whether that means remakes of other Splinter Cell games or Sprinter Cell, Mirror's Edge,
run. It is the
Splinter Cell.
It is the Endless Runner mobile adaptation of Splinter Cell.
Oh no! Honestly, they would do it with microtransactions and NFTs. Yep. But this is a big deal. Fans have been kind of getting pissed off because Splinter Cell has been like referenced in a whole lot of games. Spranker Sprell. Sorry, that was Baraki horror.
Yes, it is.
Comments.
I don't know how to feel about that one. It sounds like an injury.
Spranker Sprell.
Oh, I sprankered my Sprell. Shit.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
that's one that a lot of people have been excited for though.
And so it's different. I feel like a lot of people wanted to see like a true Splinter Cell sequel. Splinter Cell is a staple franchise of Ubisoft. And at a time where Ubisoft has very much in the last few years only put out a Watch Dogs game or an Assassin's Creed game, Just Dance, and then some kind of random off-the-wall more sports or extreme sports or exercise-related thing. It's been thoroughly missed. The last true iteration was Blacklist, which was 2012, I believe.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
It was on the Wii U.
It was on the Wii U. It was on the 360, on the PS3. It's just kind of weird. So the purpose of a remaster of the original, it's nice because it'll be able to bring in new players from a game that came out in the early 2000s. In this long storied historical franchise, but I don't know if it's what I feel like fans may be settling just because, like, at this point, let's take whatever the fuck we can get for a true Splinter Cell game because of how long it's been and how much we've been teased. So I'm interested to see how this goes.
The Splinter Cell's been around for a pretty long time, and I feel like if bringing it into the modern age, the way that they made it down, to me at least, I think it's leaning more towards they're basically doing a restart for this franchise, like a fresh restart. So by remaking the first game, it could even be like a Final Fantasy VII situation, where it's like, all right, let's just modernize it and let's make this game as if we're making it in modern
Today.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. And now
Then just go from there.
my only concern with that is this is also an Ubisoft game, and they already have a remaster / remake / reboot, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, in the works that's been delayed numerous times with Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. We have not seen or heard of this game in months since its debacle of a reveal, and then as we got closer to its original launch date of spring this year, just pushed back indefinitely. That has me concerned with if they can't remaster. Like, that game was, I don't think they were adding anything new. It was just simple remaster, some 4K resolution, improved textures, gameplay, frame rate, all that good stuff, make it pretty. We don't have that, but they're taking on a full-fledged, from the ground build up of Splinter Cell. Granted, I know it's early days in development with it, early days of an announcement, but I mean, I feel like at this point, I don't
see this for a year.
Yeah,
I
part
don't
of me
think we're going to
wishes
see any gameplay at all or video for like a year.
Yeah, part of me kind of wishes that we hadn't seen anything about that until we know what's going on with Prince of Persia.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I will say there wasn't a lot of fanfare. It was just posted online, like as like a text, like a blog post, essentially on their website.
Even then, though, but
so
they posted on their website. They put it on social media with the night vision goggles of Sam Fisher with the 3 lenses there and the green. But even then, I think that's enough still. Like, that is you touting like we're working on this thing, and it's, for me, if as a publisher, like, not to say it's being developed by the same team, but as a publisher, if you've got one game in the works in a similar fashion of a remaster, reboot, whatever you want to call it, I wouldn't announce another one, especially after the fallout you had of the one you've already announced a year, almost 2 years now, I think, ago. Like, I think it's bad timing. Like, I wouldn't want to hear about another remaster from Ubisoft until I know the one they've already announced is, in good standing and in good shape. My next point would be, this would have been, granted, I would have had the same feelings about it, but the hype factor of announcing this at the Game Awards, even as a slight teaser, I'm kind of confused as to why there wasn't a presence there. Like, it's just totally off the wall. Same thing with Spiritfarer, honestly. With Spiritfarer being a nominee in the Game Awards in 2020 for Games with Impact, I find it odd that we didn't hear anything about it. I mean, he mentioned prior nominees, and he talked about how this developer was here a year ago. Now they're here with their new game.
Yeah.
Congratulating games that have used the Game Awards as a stage to announce their things or put themselves in the spotlight. Spiritfarer got, a lot of press and a lot of hype being at the Game Awards last year, being nominated. So to not have that small little quick teaser of a enhanced edition or a farewell edition, I especially at the Game Awards that we had, where historically compared to past shows, this one was pretty tame with the announcements. I find it surprising.
I feel like maybe they announced it before the Game Awards,
like in the pre-show
happened. No, I mean like I feel like it happened before the Game Awards, but we're just now getting it on the show just because we've been talking about the Game Awards a lot.
Fair.
But yeah, I mean, it would be nice if there was more of a celebration of, a previous nominee. And yeah, I agree that a Splinter Cell announcement at the Game Awards would have left more of an impact. But maybe they don't want people talking about it as much because they don't have anything to show for it. So maybe they just want to let fans know, hey, this is happening. You can stop emailing us and sending us death threats. So maybe it's just one of those scenarios.
The announcement for Spiritfarer Farewell Edition came from Thunder Lotus, the developer's Twitter page, which was tweeted out on December 13th, 2021 at 7 p.m. So that was after the Game Awards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, interesting.
Maybe they didn't hit 1 million until after.
That's quite possible. Did it over that weekend. Interesting. All right, next up, we've got Horizon Forbidden West updates. So we got updates not only in the PS5 and just the game about itself in general, but for the first time, we've seen some PS4 screenshots. There's a 2-minute trailer on the PlayStation blog. Definitely go check it out. Just kind of detailing some of the new enemies and new machines you'll face with a good narration there. And, not as much more cinematic than it is actual gameplay, but that's fine. They're showcasing how it looks. There's been gameplay fucking videos for the last year.
The combat gameplay that they've been showcasing lately
is fluid. It's beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah. It's amazing. But I mean, I think we should give credit where it's due. The PS4 screenshots, it still looks great.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's still a solid looking game. It's good to know that they're not. I mean, they definitely have to compromise on a few things being on a last gen console, but they definitely are going to push your PS4 Pros, or hopefully not your base model PS4s, will be whirring quite loudly running this game. Looking like they're going to come out at 1080p. I imagine they're going to target a 30 frames per second frame rate there.
Yeah, I think that's been confirmed before for the PS4 version, at least. And I don't know if it's a locked frame rate at 60 frames on PS5, but I think that's a target frame rate for them for the PS5 version.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was impressed with these screenshots. I thought it still looked gorgeous. You could tell that the lighting wasn't quite, what we're used to now with PS5, but it's still a beautiful game.
Yeah, I think it'll be awesome. It's nice, but disheartening at the same time. I made this point before on a prior episode where it's just like, man, how much time and effort went to making sure this last gen version of this next gen game is running at top speed. I mean, granted, I get it. PS5 is hard to get. They don't want to leave a whole generation behind. But at the same time, you've got to have your flagship sellers. And when games are coming out and, sure, you're pushing millions and millions of consoles being sold, you're going to get to that point where it's going to be like, all right, cool, I own this console and it's been out a year now. Why do I own it? And why did I make such a rush to buy it now? This game launches in February. If this game looks just as good not just as good, but still looks really good on PS4 and runs smoothly, why did I buy this console a year ago? Why couldn't I have waited? So, I mean, it's a devil's advocate, I think it's good. On one hand, it's good. It's nice that, that entire...
It's good news for PS4 owners who don't have a PS5 yet.
Yeah, it's definitely good news. And it's good news all around. It's awesome. It's good faith in PlayStation saying they're not abandoning their fan base, especially their largest install base they've had since the PS2 and console market. But it's at the same time, it's just like, man, like, give me a continuous good damn reason as to why I went and shelled out $500-$400 November of 2020 in a time where it was probably financially irresponsible to do so.
Yeah.
So, like, give me a fucking reason. Why did I buy this thing? I want a reason to own this massive honker of a console.
Honker. Oh, I hardly knew her.
Disgusting.
Moving on. So, Tencent is fucking insane, first of all. But we lost another studio to Tencent recently. And I mean, I know that that's a loaded statement.
Very.
When I say we lost another studio. But personally, I'm a little bit concerned about this.
Okay.
But Turtle Rock Studios, the developer of Back 4 Blood, has been acquired by Tencent. And Tencent is the studio that's been buying, or the company that's been buying basically everything within the gaming industry. Did you know that in the past year, they have either acquired or invested heavily in 100 studios so far? And this is just in the past year.
That's not surprising to me. And here's the reason why. Tencent is
that's one every 3 days.
Yeah. So listen, here's the deal. I understand your concern with Tencent, but I don't think if you really break it down and look at it, right? So Tencent is a Chinese-based company.
Mm-hmm.
China is a country, for a long time did not have any accessibility to video games whatsoever, and even still there, it's very hard to. They don't have a big fan base in video games. It's not taking off. Anytime something skyrockets, a new restriction is in place to make sure, like, nope, we're limiting. It's still very limited. Still very. It's not as available as it is throughout the rest of the world. So when it comes to like trying to break that market, if you want to get in there, you're going through Tencent because they're a massive, massive company. They're going to want to stake in it because they like making money. So the small guy in China is not going to invest in Call of Duty and invest in Activision to bring a Call of Duty game overseas. So yeah, I want to know the numbers per se, because yeah, it's a large amount they're investing in buying and taking over, but I have a feeling that investment buying ratio is you're looking maybe 20% purchasing and then 80% small investments and occasionally a majority stakeholder. And that's usually just because they're like, hey, we want to bring your game overseas, or you want your game to be played in China. Well, we want to own a piece of the pie. Not a big chunk, but a small enough reason to say we're going to get our cut in return.
See, I disagree. I personally don't think that this is a good thing. I think that this is a bad
I never said it was a good thing.
And I mean, as much as I love the idea of tapping into other markets and getting more video games to more people, and not to make this political or anything, but I mean, this is something that affects the industry, and this is something that affects my favorite art. And I think that a company as large as Tencent in China essentially becomes another arm of the Chinese government. And for them to be getting their little fingers all up in so many different places, we've seen China strong arm very large companies before, and now they're strong arming, or they'll have the ability to strong arm many more companies and many more small studios who aren't going to be able to tell the stories that they want to tell. They're not going to be able to say the things that they want to say, because now they have this like overseer essentially. And I really don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. There are two things that I dislike, and that is, ironically, as a PlayStation podcast, big business making creative decisions, which I think that's one thing that's nice with PlayStation is, once a studio earns their respect, they're pretty hands off with like the subject matter for a game and things like that. They're more focused on just quality over the content, within reason at least. But I also dislike censorship, and I feel like with Tencent buying up all these studios, we're going to see, or just investing in these studios, we're going to see more of both of those things. And I just think that China getting involved in all of this is very concerning, especially when we couple this with the news that we've covered in the past with censored Call of Duty trailers, and literally just flat out banning people on online games. What was it? Was it Blizzard? Where there was like some online streamer who was completely banned because he was talking about supporting the Chinese people. Like, there's all these things, and it frankly, it makes me worried and uncomfortable, and I don't like it. So every time that they do anything, which again, it's been at a rate of once every 3 days, they are either acquiring or investing in another studio.
So are those studios or companies?
Well, both.
And how many of those companies are just video game based?
All of them.
All right. So here's my thing. So I just pulled this up on PCGamer.com. This is from 2020, so it's dated. But this is every game company that Tencent has invested in by August 9th of 2020. So if we're looking at it, and they've got who they own, and if they don't own them, how much stake they have. So the biggest ones, and I imagine this probably hasn't changed too much in a drastic way, except for maybe Turtle Rock now. So right now they have 100% stake in Riot Games with League of Legends. So there's that. I think a big thing with that is, let's see. And a big portion of that was Arena of Valor. Like reading on this, Tencent went ahead and made their own mobile clone of LOL called Arena of Valor that came out, and Riot wasn't happy about it. I'm paraphrasing this. That is now mostly water under the bridge. Now that Tencent has abandoned Arena of Valor in the West, and Riot is making a mobile version of League of Legends, which is out now with Wild Rift. They own 40% of Epic Games. Let's see here. They own 11.5% in Bluehole. This player knows Battlegrounds. They have 5% stake in Ubisoft. They have 5% stake in Activision Blizzard. 80% in Grinding Gear Games, the developers of Path of Exile. And then some other ones worth noting. Supercell, they own 84.3. They Clash of Clans. Platinum Games, they have an undisclosed investment. Jaeger, they're the developer of Spec Ops The Line, and then some free-to-play games here and there. So there's that. But again, when was the last time you heard a big thing about Jaeger? Frontier Development, that was Elite Dangerous and Planet Zoo. Kakao is a South Korean internet and entertainment company, responsible for Black Desert Online. Paradox Interactive.
So the way that I see it, though, is they're literally going towards, for the most part, and I mean, I guess you could say that this is just sound investment for any company, but they're literally going towards the games that have the highest reach in as many different devices.
And yeah, they definitely have a bigger, and I mean, I think after this, because they also games like Genshin Impact and what is the Pokemon game? Pokemon Unite. They have a stake in that, if not owning it. But even then, like you guys see, these are small numbers, and most of these, and if they have a large number, it's in places that aren't like big hitters. And I think it's just a matter of like they just want the cut, and that's the thing, they looks like from what I'm reading that they don't get involved in any development. They very much just own.
So 5%, for example, seems like a very small number because it's five out of 100. That doesn't seem like a lot, but we're talking billions of dollars. And if they threaten to remove 5% investment into a company if they don't do something, or if they don't meet the requirement, that's billions of dollars.
No, I'm not saying that, Steven. I'm not arguing that. You're not wrong on that by any means. But I'm saying that at the end of the day, the point here I'm making is that Tencent isn't, as of right now, they aren't getting involved in any kind of directiveness unless it's, censorship with China, with anything China related, especially it's all Call of Duty. And if they have any big majority stake or any kind of control as to what's going on with the games, it's it's small. I don't want to, not to put anyone down, but it's small fish. Like I don't think they're holding up Bluehole with PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. They for damn sure aren't holding up Riot Games, and they own them. So in Epic Games, 40%. Epic Games is massive between Unreal Engine 5, Fortnite. I mean, I don't think we have anything to worry for the time being.
There are
I can
different
understand
versions of those games that they release in China because they're not allowed to say certain things.
But even then, that was the case even before. Like, that's not even about the censorship piece. That was about China as a country. I
know, but like if a company that's operating in China is investing in the video game industry, they have to operate by China's rules.
Correct. But even then, they have to operate by their rules. So I think Tencent's big thing right now is this. They want to capitalize on the video game market in China. And with them as a business, they want a stake, right? They're investing in something. They're putting their name on something. Hey, we want to cut, so we'll give you some money so you can fund, right? So think about it this way. They put out Call of Duty Mobile however many years ago to hit in Chinese markets, right? But in order to do so, they had to give, hey, we'll give Activision Blizzard, we'll give you this chunk of money just to work on our game in our market, because that Call of Duty game isn't available worldwide. It's not Call of Duty Mobile. I can't remember the name of the Call of Duty game, but it's strictly in China, and that's how they can operate it. So I understand your concern for futureness, for the future tense of these things, but as of right now, they haven't done anything. The games that they're affecting, if anything, right now are flourishing extremely well. Games like Genshin Impact, Pokemon Unite
They
had a
were
rocket
flourishing
launch.
beforehand, though. That's the thing.
Genshin Impact came from Tencent. That was not a, oh, we're going to have a stake in it now. Genshin was.
I'm saying all of the other games that they're investing in and acquire, and the studios
And that's
that they're
true,
acquiring,
but they weren't
they were
flourishing in
thriving
China.
beforehand. And I mean, at the end of the day, Tencent is not a private company.
Correct.
Tencent is owned by China. So it is an operation, like an operating arm of the Chinese government. And that's what makes me uncomfortable. And I mean, I understand the whole business side of it, whatever. But I mean, I think that these concerns are valid, and I think that
And I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying.
And I wish that more companies would decline their offer. Personally, you know, it makes me a little uncomfortable, the fact that they're waving a bunch of money and people are agreeing, and they're giving up their own creative liberties.
I believe they also opened up a studio in California at some point, like a video game studio.
Well, I don't like it. Well, that's all I got to say about that.
Let's see here. All right. Well, moving on from Turtle Rock.
Moving on to some lighter news.
Jesus. A PlayStation exec was fired after being caught in a pedophilia sting. This comes from the New York Post. This happened shortly before, like 2 days before the Game Awards. So we didn't talk about it last week at the time, just because, Game Awards. But Steven, I'll go ahead and let you tell it. You have a bit more insight into it as I do. You watched the video, you saw all that stuff.
Basically, this episode is full of drama. Oh my God. We have political conspiracies, and now we have pedophiles in PlayStation. Jesus Christ. But yeah, so Sony executive, or a PlayStation Store executive, I'm sorry. Oh, let me get the guy's name. I can't fucking remember his name. George Caccio. I'm so bad at names. Cacioppo? Yeah, George Cacioppo. He was a PlayStation Store executive. But there was this like ragtag independent YouTube channel. And what they do is they basically bait pedophiles on dating apps, and then they film them catching them in the act. And so he was one of the people that was caught in the act. And so they had screenshots of conversations of him talking to somebody who he believed was, I think it was a 13-year-old boy. And he like blatantly expressed that he wanted to engage in sexual activity with this child. And then wanted them to go over to their house. And so the YouTube people filmed him and just flat out called him out on his pedophilia. And all of that sucks. I mean, not the fact that he was called out, but the fact that it happened. And I'm sure PlayStation was pissed because he answered the door wearing a PlayStation 5 t-shirt. This Winnie the Pooh looking motherfucker opens the door ready to touch a child. So fuck that guy. And so here's what's great though. And this I think is the I think that this is the good news. PlayStation fired him. They did it within 24 hours, I believe. They were just, compiling the information, confirming the accuracy, and they let him go. as close to immediately as a large company can. So yeah, I think that, so this is interesting, not because it's scandalous, but because pairing this with, we have so much news lately about like sexual harassment with Ubisoft and what is it, Activision?
Yes, Activision Blizzard is the big one right now.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest one.
So before that we had Ubisoft, and then now we have Activision Blizzard, and they're just dragging their feet and they're not doing anything to solve these issues. And so here we see this happened. And granted, I mean, not to downplay sexual harassment in the workplace, but pedophilia, I think, is like particularly shitty.
It's a federal crime. So
yeah.
There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's not a thing where you go to HR like, is this wrong? Is this bad? No,
yeah, the fact that it was immediately dealt with, though, I wish that we could see that same kind of speed with other than instances as well within the game industry.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good. If anything, this does it shows it's good faith in PlayStation as a company. They're not setting a double standard of coming out and saying like, oh yeah, you Activision Blizzard, you got to do something about Bobby Kotick, right? You've got to figure this out. And then they have this own shit and they're like, oh well, we got to think about it here. No, they pulled the trigger. Like, no, he's done, gone. That's it. It's done with. That shows it's good faith. It shows that they're not messing around. It shows and it sets a precedent for anyone else in the company right now. Like, if you're going to do some stupid shit, recognize like there's no saving grace. There's no gray area. If you fuck up, you're gone. It's done. Game over. You're out the door. And that's kind of what you need, and not just video games, but in a lot of big companies nowadays is like there's no gray area when it comes to when it comes to just wrongdoing. It's not a question of morality. Like, you made a mistake, you hurt someone, you're done. It's awesome to see. It's awesome to hear. Kudos to them. Seriously, like, I can be more proud as a PlayStation consumer and fan that something like this was dealt with swiftly. Like, it wasn't something it wasn't like there was this big press thing like, oh, we've got these days, like we got to figure this out.
We have to have a meeting.
We got to sleep on it. No, fuck that. Jim Ryan said, get his ass out of here.
Yeah.
So good for them. Happy to hear it.
George, if you're listening, fuck you.
Fuck that guy. Next up, where PlayStation has been fucking up. PlayStation is making improvements towards their relationship with indie developers. This comes from Rebecca Valentine over at IGN. So I don't know if you guys remember earlier in the summer, a lot of indie devs came out and publicly called out PlayStation and Sony on how difficult and complicated and just downright ridiculous on how it was to get their games approved through PlayStation to be sold and published or whatever you want to call it. It was just bad. And there was only a few that spoke out, but it was affected across the industry, across the indie field. PlayStation is now, while they're not making a big stink about it, they're not coming out and just publicly saying like, hey, we're making it better, this, that, and the other. There have been a lot of improvements just from a simplicity standpoint on getting indie games in there. It's good to see, knowing PlayStation's past relationship with indies, and I can only imagine that Shuhei Yoshida, now that he's kind of like heading up the whole deal with indies, has made this a personal project of his. Just making sure like, hey, like, we used to be the place for indies. It was laughed upon in our competitors and our peers as to how unprevalent indies were. And now we're the laughing stock. Like, we don't have, it's hard. You can't log on to a Nintendo Switch eShop without seeing just this dumpster fire of indie titles just there. And like just this massive drop. Game Pass does such a good way of promoting indies, because while sure, you know, their cut may not be massive right away, it's a good entry point, because it's like, hey, if you didn't finish this indie title and it's leaving Game Pass here, you don't have to pay full price. You get like a 20% off discount and you can play the game and keep playing there. So it helps them get a better install base. And I can only imagine Xbox shells out a good chunk of money to those developers to be allowed to do so, knowing that they're going to the developer will take a loss if they don't. Like it's a risk, and it's played out very well. So knowing PlayStation is trying to fix this, by all means, go give the article a read over at IGN, just to see more specifically what they're doing and what issues were there. It's good. It's good to see. I'm glad that they are kind of coming down off of their high horse a bit. After riding the wave that was the PlayStation 4 and now onto this massive tidal wave and hurricane that is the PlayStation 5. Like, I feel like for me, as someone that owns both or all three systems with the Switch, an Xbox Series S, and a PlayStation 5, I can totally see myself just with having Game Pass, playing a lot more third-party games on my Xbox and my PlayStation 5 becoming my exclusives machine because of how accessible it is on the Xbox with Game Pass and the portability. And I feel like personally, a lot of the indie games I have an interest in, I like playing handheld. It just feels right at home, So playing them on my Switch just feels right on a comfortability pace. Like I don't want to, I'll never play Stardew Valley on a television. I don't need to play Stardew Valley in 4K. I am okay playing it in 480p, 720p
Does it
on
even
my
make
Switch.
a difference? Like I don't even. I feel
Exactly.
like the art style doesn't really.
And even exactly, and I don't feel
that.
like a lot of indie games focus with that art style too much on, you've got to have 120 frames per second with a 60 hertz refresh rate and 4K or 8K. Like, no, they don't give a shit. It's an abstract design. It's a more animated style. So sure, it looks sharper, but like at the end of the day, side by side compared to this 1080p monitor, who cares?
Yeah.
So PlayStation's definitely got some strides to make. I hope they recapture their former glory as the indie king. Excited to see what they do. Thoughts?
Yeah, same here. I think, is this the last bit of news? Penultimate piece of news. We got two more.
Yeah.
So on the PlayStation blog, PlayStation has announced that there are new DualSense controllers and finally PS5 covers. So I'm sure many of you remember when we were talking about the wings on the side of the PS5. There were, what was the name of the company that was doing it?
I can't remember.
Is that what it was called? Dual Skins?
I don't think it was called
Plate Station.
No, I don't think it was. It wasn't an actual play on the PlayStation name. They were just a company just making PlayStation faceplates.
But anyway, so yeah, a company was making PlayStation faceplates. A lot of people wanted the PS5 in like a matte black color, but there were also some other options on there, and PlayStation sued them and told them to stop. And there was some drama with that. But the fact that PlayStation sued, a lot of people were like, well, does that mean PlayStation is doing their own thing? And finally, I don't know why it took so long. This is literally just colored plastic. But now it is a thing. They're in galaxy colors. I think the colors look pretty dope. There's like a pink, purple. They do have black, red, and like that Pop-Tart blue.
Yeah, so
like an blue.
We've got so it's it's a set of 5 faceplate replacements and then 3 new controller colors. So on top of, let's see, Midnight Black and Cosmic Red, we will now have Nova Pink, Starlight Blue, and Galactic Purple controllers with matching faceplate covers, as well as the black and red faceplate covers coming as well. They're being released in waves. So I believe we're getting black and red early next year, like in January.
And we already have the controllers for those.
Correct. And the Nova Pink, Galactic Purple, and Starlight Blue colors will be launching in the first half of 2022. Pricing on these will be sold at quite a few different retailers, but they're really pimping out the direct.playstation.com purchase information. Pricing is that these faceplate covers are going to be sold for $55, $54.99, I believe, MSRP. What's interesting about that is the company, the third-party company that was selling these unlicensed faceplate covers, was only selling them for 50.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I mean, it's nice that PlayStation like didn't just come after these guys to just not do shit, right? Like it's good that we're getting these, and it wasn't just like, hey, we just don't want you doing it because we're not doing it, so stop it. It was, hey, we had this in the
Yeah.
process. The only thing I can think of window wise is why it took so long was just picking out colors. Honestly, I imagine there was some kind of like survey or like they were kind of reading comment sections and scrubbing Reddit and forums like that, like what colors people wanted to see. I mean, especially if you think about it, like a purple and pink controller are never necessarily like the first wave of new controller colors anyone
Okay.
ever gets on any console.
What I don't
So
what I don't understand is this is literally just colored plastic. It's all the
yeah,
same shape.
mm-hmm.
Why don't they just let people go on a website, choose whatever fucking color they want, and then buy it?
You mean like Xbox Design Labs?
Yeah, everything should be Xbox Design Labs as far
I
as console accessories.
I don't think you're wrong. I think that is something that PlayStation actually needed to do for years. Like they should have done it before Xbox, personally, in my opinion. I could be biased on that. But I find it interesting that it hasn't happened. I don't know if there's a technicality thing or they're just kind of looking at the market. And I can kind of see that too. I mean, think about it. How many people do you know that have actually personally gone out of their way to use Xbox Design Labs?
Well, here's the thing though, then they can just use like the most popular color schemes and then just release those as regular products. That way they
No,
get the data, but then they can also make the money elsewhere. But like, I mean,
it's true.
it just it I think it has everything to do with like brand control,
Yeah.
and the branding of their systems. PlayStation always has had like a very particular branding that they're going for, and they always want their system to seem like futuristic or modern, which I know those sound counter to one another, but basically like cutting edge, technologically driven, um, that kind of thing. And so like the galaxy colors kind of go along with that. The PlayStation 5 design has a very like techie future design.
Mhm.
So I think it probably has more to do with branding than anything else. But uh, yeah, I mean, I actually think even though it's a lot more expensive than it needs to be, I think the price point is fine because people will pay it. I mean, PS5 is already a luxury piece of
Item.
tech.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like buying a new strap for your Apple Watch. Those things are overpriced too.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think they fit for the
so
market they're in. My
yeah.
only I imagine that the biggest a big thing also was PlayStation didn't like the idea because I mean, how hard could it have been to be like, hey, yo, you're selling PlaySpace for our console. You didn't ask to go through us for a license or anything. Like you just started fucking doing it. Like you took a 3D printer, made your molds based off our measurements we released, and just started selling the bad boys. And we weren't getting the cut for our product. Uh, Whereas I think if it was just gone about maybe in a different way, I could be wrong. I'm just speaking hypothetically. If that company had gone through PlayStation and say, hey, we want to sell faceplates for you. We'll give you % of the cut. Here you go. PlayStation could have said, yeah, sure. Like, we like your initiative. You're doing this thing. That means we don't have to worry about it. You can take care of it. We'll just tell you what colors you want out there. Or, we just want a cut of what you're doing. Or they could have easily said, like, no, we already have the technology and the wherewithals to do this. We don't need someone else doing it for us. And we can make all the money ourselves. So thanks, but no thanks kind of deal. I think it was just because these guys just did it. PlayStation's like, well, fuck them. Like they're just coming on our stuff. And I think you're right. Brand control, they want to control what colors are out there. They want to make it match. You don't want to have a pink casing for your PlayStation 5, but you can't go out and buy a pink controller. I think the lack of a design labs deal is just due to why spend all that money having all that shit ready to sit and go only for it to potentially not go anywhere because no one's buying that color or that individual piece in bulk. Like why go buy a million pieces of pine tree green and no one's buying it, and you only bought 20,000 pieces of galactic purple,
I
but
like the
everyone,
pine.
but
I like the pine
I know what you mean, but then no one and their fucking grandma is buying it, but they can't keep Galactic Purple in stock worth a damn. So I think it's just a matter of weighing like cost effectiveness. I'm sure there's some politicalness behind it all. My argument again was, how many people do we know that have come up with a custom controller from Xbox Design Labs? I don't think I've ever met anyone with it. I think I saw one come in a shipment to GameStop as a pre-owned controller from a different store. Is the only time I've ever seen one from the Design Labs. So like, I kind of get like, why invest a lot of money into something that no one's going to use? Like, let's just put out our own shit and see what sells. Personal input. If you guys have not seen the Midnight Black PS5 controller with the lights on, it's pretty smexy.
It is. When the lights are on, it looks like something straight out of the new Tron movie.
It is fucking beautiful. I can only imagine the faceplates on the PS5 itself would look great too, with that blue hue kind of shining and reflecting off of it.
Something about the phrase blue hue. I like it.
Blue hue. I don't think I'd buy one because I don't want to shell out $55 for sheets of plastic.
Yeah, no. If someone wants to buy it for me, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't want to make it get cool. I'm all about it.
I want the pink one or the purple one or the blue one.
See, I got this whole thing matching. Like, my whole setup is like, it's either black and white on my entertainment center in that main living room. So like, having a different kind of just very color there is just like clashing. I'm all about style, Steven.
Clashing fashion.
Clashing for fashion.
We've only got one more bit of news left.
Let's close her up, Steven.
So PlayStation acquired another studio, which is pretty cool. They've acquired, what is it, like 20? That's a lie. How many did they acquire this year?
PlayStation?
Yeah, it's
their
been a
fifth
lot
one this year.
Fifth one. Okay.
Yes.
Why did I say 20? Oh, I'm thinking of Tencent.
Jesus Christ.
Acquiring everything. Anyways, PlayStation has acquired Valkyrie Entertainment. And you were looking into this earlier, Alex. You said that they're a support studio. They've worked on things like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, they've never really put out a game of their own. They're very much, it looks like they're just kind of called in for help when, crunches being a thing, if they need some, or a developer needs relief on a game, or they don't have the resources, and these guys do. They've helped out with God of War 2018, as well as they're helping out with God of War Ragnarok. They have done. Oh, I had this up somewhere. Hot damn it. Oh, I got the doc. Let's just go. Oh, I didn't put it in the docs. I had it up. Motherfucker.
Anyways, they're a support
Halo
studio for a lot
was,
of different things.
They worked with Halo also, but yeah, they're just support. I imagine this is just so they can, call them and say, hey, we got this first party big game coming out, taking a bit longer than they expect to come out. Can you come in and help? Any advice you can give to kind of alleviate some stress and some pressure and make sure the game comes out on time? And they say, yeah, bro, what you need? I got you, fam. And they show up.
I think this is cool because I think it means that more games can be in development from any given studio because now there's more support. Yes. And so you can have smaller teams at the big studios. I'm thinking people like Insomniac. I have a feeling that maybe support studios had a big part in development for all of the Insomniac games that we've been seeing since they kind of came rapid fire. Either that or I don't even know how many people fucking work at Insomniac. I don't think they've ever released a number.
I think they have. It's increased. Insomniac has always had, for the most part, 2 teams. And I think they rapid fired some games in the last couple of years simply because they already had the framework for those games. I mean, think about it. Spider-Man Miles Morales, they just had to build off the network that was 2018 Spider-Man, Ratchet and Clank. They have got that shit down pat.
Well, I feel like with projects like that, having strong creative leadership is very important, and having those people in the head studios definitely helps. But having a support studio work on the development side, if they know what they're doing with clear leadership and creative direction, a lot of cool stuff can happen.
This is nothing but good, especially in an environment where crunch is now everyone's aware of what it is. It's frowned upon. This is a good way of avoiding it, and make sure it doesn't happen. So this is all nothing but good things. Nothing but good things come from this.
Yep. Lots of new studios from PlayStation. It's cool. They said that they had 25 new games in development, exclusive games in development.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how much of that comes from new developers. Because like I said, I don't think we're going to see a big or even like an individual game come from Valkyrie Studios, Valkyrie Entertainment anytime soon. I think a lot of those games are coming from developers already have multiple teams working on things. Maybe, and then definitely some of the studios they've purchased from first party studios with games they had in the works who just needed funding and now they've got it and support and resources. So it'll be interesting to see what 2022 holds for PlayStation. 2022 and 2023, because I don't imagine all those games are going to come out this year. I imagine there's going to be some delays, some hiccups, this, that, and the other.
Yeah, but we'll hear about the games in 2022, and that's
for sure.
Too.
Well, I'm part of me is even curious if we'll do that. I mean, nowadays, Guardians of the Galaxy is the most recent one I can think of. That game was announced this summer, and it came out this summer.
Yeah, but that's Square Enix.
I know. I'm just saying, for example, I wonder how many games, like, I feel like nowadays, and we've seen it in the past, where games are only being announced for the most part with a definitive release window, or at least close to it. It's very rare, or not rare, I should say. It's more uncommon for a game to be announced a year in advance and then keep getting pushed back. So I'm wondering how many of these games will we actually hear about in 2022 to release in 2023, unless it's like, hey, we're announcing this game in November of 2022 because it's coming out spring of 2023. You know, I'm curious.
I don't know.
That we see.
PlayStation's track record is pretty bad, actually, with
lately.
Games.
Lately, between Gran Turismo, God of War, Horizon. I'm not saying they're not.
And I mean, we just heard about first party games that PlayStation was announcing, and they just say like 2023, and they're probably going to get delayed.
Exactly.
Because like how do they know? Like if they're 3 years out, like I don't know. I just feel like.
I think it's just I think that's not necessarily just a PlayStation thing. I'm sure there's like some unspoken.
Well, yeah,
not unspoken, but like some talent that's been developed. Like, hey, like you're working on this game. Can you give me an estimate of how soon it's going to be out? Or if it gets early development because that team is already working on something else they've got in the pipeline that's coming out within months. And that's where all the effort's going. Like, hey, this game's in the back burner. Like, it's going to happen, but we've got God of War coming out in 6 months. We've got to get it going. Like, fuck this other stuff. Everyone, all hands on deck kind of deal. So I'm sure there's a system, and a lot of these people are veterans, I imagine, especially that high up. They know how to kind of put a good time frame or an estimate on that stuff.
Well, they've been fucking up a lot lately. So...
I mean, not by no means an excuse, but
yeah, I guess that that's all that we've got.
Yep, that wraps up the show, guys. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for chiming in the chat. Remember to follow, like, share, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down if you didn't like it. I mean, be honest. Leave a comment. By all means, go to www.mtfproductions.com/donate to contribute to the show. Again, anything as little as $1 helps out. Be sure to follow the new Twitter with @tweetmtf, so you can see and turn it on. Click that bell to like notify you whenever we tweet, so you see whenever we're going live and whatnot. In case you're not always active on the Twitch. But until then, guys, we will see you next Friday at either 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. We'll figure it out.
Tweet it out
hours beforehand, I'm sure.
We'll put it on Twitter and on the Facebook.
And on the Facebooks.
Thank you so much for watching and listening. Love, love, love.